This video is going to be a film study look at the Seattle Seahawks acquisition of Ernest Jones via trade, one that's possibly lost amidst all the offensive-related NFL acquisitions in the last week and a half. Amari Cooper to the Bills, Davante Adams to the Jets, reuniting with Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. This is actually the second of two defensive acquisitions by the Seattle Seahawks in I think about the last 10 days. Ernest Jones gets to move on to a new franchise for the second time in 2024, returning back to the division that he played in with the Rams. He's a 24-year-old inside linebacker dynamo. He'll be 25 in a month. Seattle's front office offloaded Jerome Baker and a fourth-round pick in exchange for him, so clearly they'd like to re-sign him at this point. I think that's obvious. Look, just to recap if you're unaware, last year in 2023, he had 145 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, along with 6 passes defensed, 4.5 sacks, and 6 quarterback hits. I'm not sure how he didn't get a Pro Bowl or some type of designation. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to go over some film here, and I'm going to start with some 2023 stuff because I had some knowledge of Ernest Jones when the Rams came to Baltimore and played us in Week 14. I didn't see it on film, and what I mean by that is I didn't see a great football player on film at that time. Turns out that apparently he had some injuries that he was dealing with up to the game before the Rams came to play Baltimore. It was a game where they went to Cleveland and won, and in fact he had 15 tackles. Prior to that game, he was apparently dealing with injuries. When he came to Baltimore, he had 10 tackles, 1 sack, 1 pass defensed. I'll show you some of those plays. And like I said, that was 1 week after 15 tackles in a win over the Browns. Mike McDonald saw that. Now he's coaching on the other side of it, obviously, but he had to have noticed that Jones was excellent against the run. It's not that he's bad against the pass. He's just so damn good against the run. That's the relative weakness of this Seattle defense, I think, is fitting from an inside linebacker standpoint against the run, particularly out of 11 personnel. But from an individual standpoint, what's he bring? Tremendous burst and acceleration. Great strength, great core strength, and ability to take on blocks and hold his positioning, not give up space, basically not get expanded by ISO or lead concepts, number one. Number two, offensive linemen don't overwhelm him. His tackling ability is second to none, in my opinion. And then finally, his intelligence. He's going to get a second shot at Buffalo, apparently this week, stepping onto the field to be Seattle's new Mike linebacker, generally lines up to the field. I would assume with Dotson sliding over to the will into the boundary. Let's get to the film. Again, I referenced some stuff from 2023 last year. He's number 53, obviously, in the middle of the field. It's a 3rd and 1 against the Ravens, and you see his ability to redirect against Kevin Zeitler, who's now on the Detroit Lions. Also had a sack early in that game. I believe this is 3rd possession, but I could be wrong. It's going to be a pseudo RPO look by the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and Ernest Jones just hits it 100 miles an hour, gets the official sack. There's no loss nor no gain on the play. Lamar is able to get back to the line of scrimmage. Tremendous athleticism. When he has a read, something that's decisive for him, he's going to hit it, and he's going to hit it right now. It's a short yardage situation against the Jets this year, playing for the Titans, obviously. I think Arden Key down here to the bottom side knows something. I think he knows that it's a run concept. And gets these guys fired up to attack. And by the way, Ernest Jones will attack. If you give him a read, if you give him an open window, he'll take it. I will give you the end zone angle of this one, but check out the speed and the comparison of how far downhill he is from starting a little bit deeper than the other inside linebacker. He's just one of those guys, in my opinion, that's going to show up at the point of attack no matter what. Perfect acquisition, in my opinion. Perfect pairing with the interior defensive lineman, 92, Robertson, that they just acquired. Some of the other outside linebackers they have. I think this really completes their defense, gives them a guy who is simultaneously an extremely athletic Mike linebacker and a, quote, thumper against the run. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. It's the same play from the end zone angle. I think it's a beautiful play. That's why I picked it first to show you from the 2024 film. Essentially jumping through here, getting his feet off of the ground, canted a little bit to the side to try to fit through the gap, reestablishes his feet on the ground, gets a hold of the running back. A brilliant play against the run, again, in a short yardage situation. It's going to be hard to top that one, just so you know. Against the Colts here, kind of like the solo inside linebacker look. he tempos the running back well. There's never anything that looks like he's overcommitted. He'll tempo the back and basically match their pace, match their speed. I will give you the end zone angle of this one so you see what I'm talking about. So he'll match their speed, match their pace, normally on the backside hip, because the running back's going to go this way initially, such that he can cut back and redirect against the grain when the running back does so as well. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. He's just very athletic, yet calm, and tempos the ball well at the same time. That's a unique combination, in my opinion. Some guys hit things 100 miles an hour downhill right now. Some guys slow play it a little bit. They fit the gap at the correct time, at the correct place, but also at the correct time. Ernest Jones is a guy that reminds me of that. He can find the correct space, gap to fit in at the point of attack, but he's also there at the correct time. Very reminiscent of a guy who does the same thing for the Detroit Lions by the name of Jack Campbell. Those two guys are the young inside linebackers across the league that I see that not only fit where they're needed, but at the correct time. Whatever they've been instructed, however they've been taught, it shows up on film. Another short yardage situation, this one against the Bears. They actually get the first down here, by the way, but it is Jones who essentially, in some ways, almost prevents a longer run. He's going to be the Mike linebacker lined up to the field. Here the ball is in the middle of the field. Seattle's going to be in their nickel look generally against 11 personnel, which is what you see more often than not. And this point in time in the NFL, shifted over a little bit. So solo inside linebacker look, folds over the top. I'll give you the end zone angle of this one just so you can see how natural he is with his hands. He's able to keep moving, orienting towards the running back, basically matching the tempo, like I said, but utilize his hands against potential blockers in space in a manner that doesn't hold him up. And it's almost always on the inside. He's almost always got his hands on the inside, the chest, armpits, whatever you want to, wherever his target might be on that particular moment, depending on the concept. He's going to get to the football a lot. You can expect to see Ernest Jones with 10-plus tackles in pretty much every game. Shotgun run concept. Gets up to the center and just very calm. He'll stay in his gap. Doesn't seem like he's in a hurry at times. And again, it's very interesting to me. There's something that's triggered in his brain that's downhill right now at times. Hit it 100 miles an hour, play things aggressively. And then there's other times where you see reactions like this one, where he fits it. He knows that he's in control of his gap, number one. Number two, and oftentimes able to redirect and play another gap as well. Basically, a two-gapping inside linebacker at times. He's going to be the backside inside linebacker here. It's a pistol set by the Colts. Run concept is going to go away from him. So the right-hand side of our screen to his right, he's 53. I think he's going to be 13 for Seattle, if I saw it correctly. He's the backside inside linebacker. Watch him go underneath of the offensive lineman, but still have the speed to make it up. There's a time and place to do these things. Whatever he's taught, however he's taught to react, he's almost always right. And what I mean is, I don't mean right in terms of making the tackle, but he's almost always right in deciding whether to scrape and climb over the top of whoever's trying to come get him, or in this case, go underneath. It doesn't always work to go underneath. You see guys end up underneath, and then a big cutback lane develop. Ernest Jones always seems to be right. I got no explanation for that other than he's very well trained, very intelligent, and aware during the play, in my opinion. And I suspect him and the other inside linebacker he's playing next to, and whatever defensive tackles are on the field, they understand whether they're going to play a lag technique as the defensive lineman. So a lag technique would be like allow yourself to get reached but play on the back door here, so as the defensive tackle. And what that would do is it would allow these guys to play the front side. Sometimes that's what it looks like, particularly in his film against the Rams last year. And other times he's got a great awareness and ability to play different styles depending on the concept, number one, and depending on what they're doing up front. I think that's why this makes this a damn near perfect fit for Seattle, because he seems very aware and intelligent during the play and able to adapt from snap to snap. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. I'll give you both angles of this one. I think it's the last run play that I'll show you. It's 12 personnel against the Colts. Now he's actually into the boundary here with the ball on the left hash. I don't think this is where he'll be in Mike Macdonald's defense. I think he'll be here. I think he'll be to the field, and Dotson will be the guy to the boundary. But point is here, first of all, his helmet comes off on contact. Presses downhill, able to disengage the blocker, basically make the blocker miss. Use his hands while still being grabbed, held, blocked, whatever you want to call it, by that offensive lineman. I really don't care. The point is he plays through contact. He plays through contact well because he generally lands the first punch. And those guys, offensive linemen, tight ends, fullbacks, whatever, that are trying to get him square, that are trying to get him chest to chest, or they're trying to get him eyebrows to chest, are not able to do so. They end up off center because Jones is so athletic and so smart, able to redirect. He's a great football player that Seattle's acquired. I hope that they're able to re-sign him soon. It's not that he's not really good against the pass as well. Here, this is where he'll be lined up, again, with the ball on the hash, where generally it spends more time than being in the middle of the field. Going to be essentially a one-man screen to the field by the Jets. So you have a pass concept, and tucked inside of that pass concept, you have a one-man screen, tight end out into the flats, running back here, and you do actually have routes developing. This is Ernest Jones initially taking a pass drop such that he would defend typical route concept and then able to redirect to the one-man screen. You'll see a lot of this. You'll see a lot of him being in his area / zone of responsibility and then able to get involved in the tackle pretty much no matter where it is. If you're a Seattle fan, let me know if you share my enthusiasm for the acquisition. I think from an athletic standpoint and from what I'm projecting or think I'm seeing intelligence-wise is a perfect fit. It's not that Dotson and Baker aren't intelligent players. I don't know anything to the contrary, but this guy, I feel like you can see his awareness on the field because of how he adapts from snap to snap, play to play. And to me, that's what you got to be able to do in Mike Macdonald's defense, particularly as an inside linebacker. Is he going to be the green dot, the captain, all of those things? I don't know. They'll probably have someone else responsible for it this week from a terminology standpoint. This is Seattle, in my opinion, saying we recognize that there is some type of weakness. Is some of that systemic to Mike Macdonald's scheme? Against 11 personnel teams who are under center, I would tell you that the answer to that is yes. If you get high-level inside linebacker play along with all of your starting D tackles being available, Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy II, first and foremost, along with others who are pretty good as well, then I think those relative weaknesses of Mike Macdonald's scheme can be minimized. And I think that's what Seattle's going for here. They got a great secondary. I think they've got a great front group. Uchenna and Nwosu, unfortunately, is injured again. Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, 92, Robertson. I forget the rest of his name. My apologies. He looked like a pretty good player last week, I thought, in the film. So I appreciate you guys' time, man. If you are not excited about Ernest Jones, the fourth acquisition, let me know. I am. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the team and Mike Macdonald. I think Macdonald, watching him play so well against Baltimore last year, may have played a role in this from the standpoint of, hey, we can improve our team. Tennessee is involved in a fire sale, number one. Number two, Ernest Jones' contract is up at the end of this year. If there is some type of attitude or focus problem with him, which I don't believe there is, if there were, then you can jettison him at the end of 2024. I don't think that's what occurs. I don't think that's what happens. I think Seattle wants to re-sign the guy and possibly even re-sign him before the end of the year. You guys let me know what you think of those thoughts, the plays that I used to illustrate his skills and how I think my projection, speculation to some degree, my speculation of how he will fit in this Seattle defense, and I think he will make them better because they'll be more athletic, which is crazy to say, and a little bit more sound against the run, in my opinion. You're talking about a guy with 100-plus tackles, 2022 and 2023. Very efficient in his movement style and able to fit at the point of attack where the running back goes at the correct time and in the correct place. Very rare skill. Smart, tough, aggressive football player. Exactly what you guys want in Seattle. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look at Ernest Jones IV, and how spectacular he could be in this Seahawks defense in 2024 and hopefully beyond, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.